Good day. So, nandito na naman tayo ngayon sa klase natin and it's already week 10. No, dalawa na lang talaga tapos na tayo. So, our topic today is so important din kasi it talks about environmental pollution. Pero mapapatanong tayo, ano bang implication ng environmental pollution sa social work? So, ngayon, actually, other schools right now do have subject already in environmental science and sustainable community development as their prerequisites in other majors. Kasi nga, humans as we are not just focusing socially or individually. Also, social work look at the environment we are in right now. Okay, so, anong implication nito? Let's discuss now. Okay, so environmental pollution. So, with the Philippine progress in industry, so sa pag-unlad ng ating industry at technology din, no, sa ngayon, somehow po itong pag-unlad na ito, it becomes threatened to people's existence. Why? Because it produce, no, pollution in the industry, sa mga pabrika. Now, most Filipinos are becoming increasingly aware of the condition. Na there is strong alarm of the air, sa hangin natin, maraming mga sa mga pollutant sa hangin, sa tubig din, sa lupa, and most especially noise pollution. Okay? So, pollution has become familiar, especially in Metro Manila or in cities. Sa amin, Cebu kasi, nakatira kami, center talaga. Halos hindi ako makatulog doon. Nakakatulog lang ako, no? I just bring my headset. No? So, pagising ko, may headset pa rin ako. So, doon yun kasaklap ang noise pollution sa cities. Just sharing. So, it makes itself evident in garbage-filled streets. Okay, so, in smog places, yung smog po, yun po yung parang fog, pero pollution po yan, no? Yan po yung common sa China. And in filth-clogged rivers, yung mga, at canals din, yung mga kanal na ang dami ng basura, nagkaklag na, oil spillage sa tubig in the seas, and insecticides poisoning sa plants natin, and in animal life. And so, by the way, what is pollutions? Ano yung pollution? Ano yung saklaw ng pollution? Kasi baka meron tayong misunderstanding dito. So, pollution is defined as alteration of our surroundings, wholly or largely, as product of man's action. So, it is indeed kasalanan natin. So, hindi po yun, mali po yung mindset ba na parang nagse-self-destruct yung mundo. Tayo po ang nag-distract dito by making everything na naging pollution now through direct or indirect effects of changes in every pattern, radiation levels ba yan, or in chemicals, and physical constitution and abundance of organisms. So, itong patterns of radiation, of course, we know this, radiation, chemical, physical, itong abundance of organisms, sa dami nito, nagkakameron na po ng noise pollution, dumadami na po yung tao. Okay? Pollution as used here will mean the presence in air, water or pollutants in greater quantity. Yan po yung the most common definition yan, sa air lang at saka sa water, than what is normally contained in these elements. Now, pollutants, okay, in this sense, come from man-made sources and generally affect air, water in large amount. So, pag-usapan natin ano yung sources naman ng pollution sa environment natin. Now, there are two main focus in the spread of pollution. These are the rapid industrialization o pagiging industrialized ng isang lugar, and of course, population growth, pagtaas ng population. We talked a while yung it's all about problems of population growth. Last week yata yun, or last week. Nakita natin doon yung mga problema. Poverty, malnutrition, and the like. So, it is said that 60% of our pollution problem is caused by people, sa mga tao, while 20 to 40% is caused by the industry. So, wala pong sinabi dito na nature, di ba? So, indeed, we cause everything. So, kaya nagiging problema talaga natin to ng mga tao. Now, motor vehicles pollute air when their carbon fuels do not burn completely and so produce a colorless, odorless, and poisonous gas, carbon monoxide. So, delikado po talaga yung sometimes kasi, sometimes pag pupunta ako ng Iligan, hindi ako nagmamas doon kahit before. Alam mo yung ilong, nangingitin yung ilong mo sa carbon monoxide na pinuproduce ng mga motor vehicles. And oftentimes, parang sumasakit kaagad yung ulo ko. Okay, so every day we breathe 416 tons of deadly gases, include 26 tons of unburned hydrogen and of almost 6 to 20 tons of nitrous oxide. So, ganun po kalala talaga. So, anyway, electric utilities and industrial plants also produce large amount of sulfur monoxide and smog. Okay, yan yung gano'n po yung ka-dangerous through dust and chemicals. This increase and mortality rate especially among the older ones. So, parang sa baga po yung mga nalalangha po. In a similar manner, water is directly polluted by domestic sewage. Okay, yung mga drainage po. Indiscriminate disposal of refuse, yung mga basura and untreated waste coming to the industrial plant. And nagkakameron po ng bacteria in the septic tank, eventually, pupunta sa river kasi po yung septic tank, di ba? May iba nga sa river pa. Sa river pa nagdudumi. Waste matter is continually coming from industrial plants, slaughterhouses, and markets located in the bank. Kaya nga po, actually po, oftentimes, ito pong mga example market, slaughterhouse, pabrika, dapat po talaga po, nasa, kumbaga, malayo sila sa mga waters natin. Like rivers, lake. Kasi nga po, pag nagkukaan sila ng mga basura nila, mga waste, diretso po ang lapit po. Delikado po yung, hindi lang yung mga isda dyan, mga marine waters dyan, pati nga po yung mga tao nakatira dyan malapit. Now, this do not only destroy fish life, sabi mga dito, they clog rivers and spread pollution. And also, there are two kinds of pollution. They are the natural pollution, and gas, smoke from volcano, and smoke from the forest fire. And the man-made pollution naman caused sa mga activities nating mga tao. Today, the most common pollutants or contaminants are waste products from industrial plants, power plants, yung mga pabrika, agricultural operations, transportation facilities, and human dwellings. These are the pollutants that we can en masse control. So, yan lang po ang mga makokontrol natin. Hindi naman po siguro makontrol natin itong volcanic eruption. Okay? Air pollution naman. So, what is air pollution? Air pollution is making our environment unclean or impure. It is the presence of foreign matter like gaseous or particulates, or the combination of both in the surrounding of the atmosphere, which is detrimental to the health of the man. Air contains liquid droplets aside from the other substance, volcanic action, decayed organic matter, and presence of airborne viruses and bacteria. Kaya nga po, di ba, delikado po kasi, gano'ng kadelikado, example sa COVID natin ngayon, okay, it's an airborne. So, ang daling kumalat. And oftentimes, paglinis ng virus na yun, oftentimes, di ba nga, may issue tayo nga, madaling kumalat yung virus or COVID-19 or ano ba yung mga mutation na nangyari sa air conditioned. So, nililinis talaga dapat yung hangin. Okay? It was found that specific types of pollution above certain level may seriously affect health. Lower levels of exposure is mark of irritation of the eyes, nose, di ba? Nangangati yung mata mo. May mga times na ganyan pag nasa biyahe ka. And damage to vegetation. Nasisira yung mga pananim. And there's an impact to that sa mga clients natin, especially farmers, no? Humingi sila ng tulong sa DA or even DSWD, panghingi ng tulong kasi nga yung mga tanim nila isirang-sira na. In the article Restoring the Quality of Our Environment, published the White House, it says that the major and the most important air pollutants classified into highest priority are, so first, ito yung mga highest priority ng mga pollutant, okay? So, ito yung mga pollutants talaga na dapat pinagtutuunan ng pansin ng government kasi, let's say, deadly or ang laking nadadamage niya. So, most highest priority, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, sa mga motorcycle, sasakyan, carbon dioxide, fluoride, ozone, sulfuric acid, droplets, oxide nitrogen, carcinogens, paracel, and the like. And of course, the high priority naman, benzene monologues, alkyl nitrates, and the like. And there are numbers of pollutants which are local interest, such as chemicals released from a particular industry or from agricultural operations. So, i-define natin yung pollutants, expert, consider only those substance added in sufficient concentration to produce measurable effects. So, hindi po siya matatawag na somehow delikadong pollutants kung somewhat naman wala namang effect. Okay, pollutant siya, pero hindi siya considered na pollutants by the expert kung wala namang concentration masyado. Okay, so parang ganun ba? Parang lahat ng sobrang chemicals ito nakasira, kung enough lang, baka pa meron pa na example, insecticide, no? Pwede siya may pollutants but somehow din nakaka-apekto siya kung sobra. Sa tanim, example sa sa animal, sa tao, no? Pwede tayong magamit ito ng mga chemicals pero in exact amount lang. Okay? Ito yung example, inanimate materials. Pollutants include any natural or artificial composition of matter such as gases, liquid droplets, or solid particles capable of being airborne. Now, Anderson believed that for practical purposes, communities may classify air pollutants into two groups. So, ito po yung mga pollutants. First nito sa community includes smoke, gases, soot, and cinders from fly ash by the combustion of fuel in the home and air railroad locomotor leaves in the industry. Ito po yung sa mga industriya. Now, the second is the combustion. Okay? The second combustion. Example dito. Ito yung, kung klaro po, mga sasakyan po yan. Okay? So, hindi lang medyo klaro, pero mga sasakyan yan. Yan po mga example. So, sabi nga dito po sa from Expressway, October 1978 pa to, pollution is an inevitably byproduct of modern life brought about by the great strides of science and technology. Okay, so ito po yun talaga. And oftentimes, we really have to accept that in order for us to be modernized, industrialized, kailangan natin i-counten yung pollution natin. Okay? So, dapat po maging careful tayo dito. So, history says that even in the early years of the century, typhoid, fever, and even enteric disease were major causes of death, no? Traced by the water. So, ito po yung mga malalang sakit. Sa water pollution po siya nanggaling. Okay? And water pollutants also lead to an increase in disease producing virus, bacteria, like paratyphoid and salmonellosis. Okay? And of course, hepatitis, ito pa, no, sa water sila nakikita taga mostly. And the like, shellfish, sabi dito, aquatic-borne disease unknown to source of have increased and waters many beaches have declared unsafe. Also, raw human sewage and even partially treated sewage, no, aside from endangering human health, contributes to direct disruption of the environment. No, this discharge in the ponds, lakes, nitrogen and the like, in turn results in growth in vast numbers of minutes aquatic plants. So, nasisira po. And planktonite, ito po yung mga nakakasama talaga na nasa tubig. Now, let's move on to the solid waste pollution. So, another pollution problem that confronts the Philippines, sa lugar natin today, is the accumulation of solid waste. Now, this may refuse such as garbage, rubbish, trash, ashes, or junk, no, and other things that man throws away almost anywhere. No, ito po yung mga hindi basta-basta na bubulok. Dump trashes and garbages result in unsanitary surroundings. Now, these things attract diseases, carrying insects. Nakakasakit tayo dito. Now, solid waste is unsightly, odorous, and unpleasant. With these things around people, reduces working efficiency, no, or fail to do the jobs of unpleasant odor. So, ito yung nangyayari. Hindi makapagtrabaho, magkameron ng disaster, no, mga baha, bagyo, kasiklag yung kanal, pollution, no, pagkasira ng tubig, maduming tubig, no, disease, and the like. So, by proper sewage disposal, we can prevent solid waste pollution. One way is by sanitary landfill. Yan po yung tinatambak, no, and land reclamation. So, sometimes nililibing. This is the careful burying, okay, and grading of refuse that is dumped in deep trenches, then sprayed with chemicals to kill larvae and insects. It is comparted and covered with a thick layer of clean earth. So, yan po yung ginagawa, nililibing. At in-sprayhan ng chemical para hindi siya langawin doon. Now, let's move on to the lead pollution. So, lead is a soft heavy metalline element. It is derived from plumbum, the Latin word for lead. So, the Encyclopedia Americana gives the following facts about lead pollution. So, saan nag-source to? So, most causes of lead poisoning occur among children who eat chips of lead containing paints. So, yan po yan nasa mga paints that peeled off the ceilings of walls and um, deteriorated houses. Lead paints are widely used at homes, interior, and in many cities, slums. We are building have poor kept. 15% to 20% of children between ages 2 and 5 no, may lead poisoning. So, delikado po to sa bata. Mag-ingat po tayo. Okay, so in industries use lead and compounds, lead poisoning potentially serious hazard. Okay, sa mga company po. Lead can enter the body when a person breathe fumes, dust, mist, vapor, and some organic compounds such as tetraethyl can lead to absorb through the skin. Okay, sa pores lang po pumapasok. Lead poisoning is most inclusive in an occupational disease which is usually chronic in nature. Occupations involving potential lead exposures, ceramic industry, yung mga upuan, yung mga plastics where lead can gas, filmmaking, so sa film, house painting, glass making, copper, ito po yung mga trabaho, plumbing ka o tubero ka ba, glass fitting, yan po yan kasing lead dyan, printing, no, cutlery and storage, nandiyan po yan sa mga paint. Okay, so delikado po yan. Effects of lead poisoning. So, experts tried lead poisoning, so caused by absorption of the digestive tract from the lungs of the skin. Typically, adult ingest 0.3 mg of lead daily. So, ito po yung nangyayari sa blood, mostly insertion of the kidneys. May, sa excreted and feces in sweat. So, yan po yung nangyayari. So, if lead ingestion exceeds 0.6 mg daily, the body ability to excrete diminishes, the lead accumulates in the body, poisoning develops. Okay, so lead has no known beneficial effects in the body, but it may cause great harm. It is known to interfere with the normal hemoglobin production and may also affect kidney and heart. Now, the most important damage occurs on the central nervous system and has direct effect on the brain. Okay, swelling of the brain may follow. Lead poisoning develops slowly after several months in ingestion, and of course may cause to death. No, lead poisoning can result to loss of weight, colic, abdominal pains, headaches, vomiting, and the like. So, if the occupational disease among, ito po yung may mga trabaho na nakakasakit dito, welders, mga miners, and others work, and metals. Example, mga engineers, like kanon, sa metals sila nagtatrabaho. Now, the victims of lead poisoning became pallid. Their appetites fail, no, nagpipil appetites, constipation, suffer veins, the loss of power shown first fingers, hand, wrist, condition known as wrist drop, and soon victim rendered useless work. The palsy will extend the shoulders and so wala na po, loss of power, wala nang lakas. Now, how to control this lead? Okay, although lead is used for piping waters and slightly alkaline so that insoluble compounds would be formed on the surface of the pipes, thus preventing the lead from entering the water. Okay, other forms, so ito po yun. Diba, lead nga po yung tubo natin, pero ano yung nangyayari? Kasi meron silang hinahalo dyan para hindi makapasok sa tubig. From forms of control are closed water sewage system installation, control estimation of industry plants. So, sila po yung may control dyan. So, let's move on naman sa noise pollution. So, ano yung noise pollution? Sabi pa nga doon, the abundance of people, dumadami yung tao, it caused the noise pollution. Example, ang daming tao, may mga sasakyan, so, mostly talaga ang ingay. Okay, so ano yung katotohanan dito? Noise is an environmental pollutant which is least known and the least publicized. It is any loud and unpleasant sound in a modern day urban setting. So, may masasakyan sa lugar. It has multiplied itself to such degree it produces discomfort, annoyance, and conflict between passengers and drivers. No, mga away. No, switch on the radios and stereotypes increase loud naman yung mga radio. In many cases, it is unbearable kasi nga parang normal na dumadami pong yung may sasakyan. Noise is usually measured in decibels, 8 to 10-fold increase in the strength of unit. So, yan po ini-increase nan. Noise pollution comes from varied sources. These are amplified music, transportation, manufacturing industry, construction, sa opisina, sa pag-heat and conditioning, human sound, military, natural calamities, and the like. Sonic booms are the most threatening and technologically noises. Okay? Effects of noise pollution naman. Ano yung epekto nito sa katawan natin at sa environment? Several scientists studied have documented noise serious and much critical human popularly recognized pollution daw. It was found that some teenagers are suffering permanent hearing loss, no? Nabibingi following loss exposure of the amplified rock kasi nga ang sakit sa tenga, nakakasira. Noise levels as low as 50 decibels may delay or interfere the sleep with. So, di ba, may mga times na ganyan, hindi ka makatulog, fatigue, awakening. Pagod ka na kasi nga, maingay yung lugar. This in the 90 decibels range cause irreversible changes of automatic nervous system. It may factor nagkakameron ng stress accordingly sa studies. Studies on noise cite the fact that when one hears a loud noise, the blood vessels constrict, skin begins pale, pupil dilate, eyes close, and winches. He holds his breath. No, sometimes may mga ganon, no, pinipigilan yung hinga kasi nga parang, di ba, may times pag nanonood ka ng horror movie, no, pag yung sound malakas, parang hindi ka makahinga, and voluntary and involuntary muscles become tense. So gastric secretion of diminished and blood pressure increases, adrenaline is suddenly injected into bloodstream and increased tension. So kaya nga po pala, kasi nga pag may narinig kang malakas na tunog, yung adrenaline mo lumalakas and it create tension from the blood. Nagiging nervous ka, irritated, and anxiety. Na stressful ka. Dr. Felix naman, Artburger, an audiologist and top world expert of the effect of the excessive noise on the human, says that crushing weight of unbearable sound is not only seriously damaging the hearing of youngsters who attend rock concert, but it also destroying their ability to think intelligently. So may mga ganun po, di ba, may mga times po pag maingay, hindi ka makapag-isip, no? Parang yung focus mo, yung memory, whether we like it or not, oftentimes yung memory talaga natin, no, may connection talaga siya sa focus. Okay? The People's Journal reports on the findings of the expert pollution. The exposure too much to noise from stereo sets of jeepney and buses may reduce one's sexual drive, causes ulcer, raise blood pressure, and even harm unborn babies. Okay? It further says that the National Pollution Control Commission, investigating complaints of noise in jeepneys, has ordered riders to tune down their stereo sets. Now, there are 4 categories of the effects of noise pollution. Ano yan? Noise pollution causes tension, may contribute to high blood pressure, and heart diseases. So, kaya may mga times po na pag ginugulat mo isang tao, baka mag-heart attack po yan. No? Careful po tayo dyan. Noise interfering in one's sleep lessens body resistance to disease. It causes disease such as insomnia, ulcers, and it lowers production, thus decreases efficiency and compensation. Latest findings are it harms unborn babies naman and induces one's sexual drive. How to control it? Paano ba kontrolin ang noise? Noise is a growing threat to our health and happiness. Preventive measures should be taken under control noise pollution, such as, first is prescribing maximum noise level. So dapat may mga noise lang po sa mga nightclubs and other areas po, so like district relegating tracts. Setting of maximum noise standards of various types of motor. Kaya may mga times, di ba, na alam mo yung mga tambucho ng mga motorcycle, di ba? May mga times na yung ginagawa ng gobyerno dyan, pinipigil sila. Mga wangwang yata yung tawag dyan kasi nga it is a noise pollution. Use of mufflers or silencers in cars, trucks, and motorcycles. And maintenance of good roads. Okay, yan din po yung madalas. Discipline one part naman, systematic education, campaigns, periodic inspection of vehicles. Ito po yun. Ini-inspection ng vehicles kung maingay ba. Tinitest nila yan kung maingay ba. Pollution control, an important steps naman para maiwasan, no? Sabi dito, the creation of Executive Order of Pollution Research Center. The center will serve as an information, educational, and training agency of matters resulting in the pollution. So, yan po yung, no, Executive Order on Pollution Research Center. Authorities on pollution offering the following suggestion: we can control the air pollution. Sabi dito, traffic rules and regulations should be revised. Fuel use in industry and motor should be contain less sulfur and lead. Kaya sometimes po, di ba, yung mga fuel companies po, minamodify po nila, may mga revision po sa kanilang fuel para po maiwasan to. Sometimes nga po, depende sa fuel mo, naliless yung ingay, no, ng isang sasakyan and less din sa pollution in the air, particularly. Toxic gases and pollutants in the factories, power industries must be controlled. Efficient incineration and sanitary handfill should be used. Ordinances, kailangan dapat may ordinance sa mga disposal. Devices are presently being developed to remove solid particles naman. Measures on how to minimize, if not stop, the dangers. No, pollution can be entirely eliminated or be stopped, but it can be minimized. So pag hindi talaga ma-stop, minimize na lang. at least. This can reach the intent which comes to healthy hazard, no? And we must find ways and means to reduce the hazard. It is very necessary that we should follow the minimum standards of sanitation sa mga lugar natin. The other measure that we should undertake are the constant repair maintenance sa mga vehicles natin, no? Dapat nating ipagawa. Motor vehicles which emit excessive smoke should not be registered. Dapat hindi pa rehistro po yung mga maingay. Okay, commission should be granted as power to stop the waste disposal. These are the measures that we should undertake. Okay, so here's our summary and the questions we must ponder. So what is pollution? Name some commonly known pollutants and contaminants. Give the effects of air pollution, lead pollution, and noise pollution. Can we minimize, if not stop, the dangers of pollution? So right now naman, proceed naman tayo sa next topic natin. So indeed, important po ito. So let's talk about other social problems. Okay? So ano yung mga, aside sa mga pinag-usapan natin na medyo madami din yung mga problems, ano pa yung mga iba na mostly naiisip natin na present sa community natin? Okay? So first problem natin sa other is, sabi dito, gambling, poverty, and malnutrition are interrelated to social problems. Ito yung pag-uusapan natin. Now, most often gambling leads to poverty, no? Naputo sa utang, nalugi, and consequences naman malnutrition. So, connected po talaga to. Yung pamilya, yung isang tao na gambling, kung may pamilya, cause to poverty, umutang. At yung poverty naman, kung may mga bata dito, malnourished yung mga bata, walang mapakain. The New Encyclopedia Britannica defines gambling as betting or stocking of something of value, with consciousness of risk and hope of gain on the outcome of game, a contest or an uncertain event, the result, which may be determined by chance or accident. So, yan po yung mga bagay natin na nagbe-bet tayo, no? Staking something. Yan po yung mga nagre-risk tayo ng mga bagay. And we have the hope talaga na risk siya. Okay? Na pwedeng malugi tayo. Yun yung mga bagay na hindi natin na-calculate diretso. Okay? So, gambling has long been problem sa Pilipino natin. Mga Pilipino, ang daming sugal, no? Mga mahjong, tungits, ang dami. May mga iba nga napapatay dyan. Okay? So, nagiging away, nalugi sa utang, may mga nasirang pamilya dahil dyan. It is indeed the social problems, the other social problems. It deprives the family, which is the basic unit of the society. Such funds should be spent in the home, hindi na gasto na bigyan in some people, no? Yung mga problema. There are many types of gambling, generally gamblers may indulge one kind. So maraming gambling po. So ano yung types of gambling? While there are legalized gambling naman sa Philippines natin, example, I think casino, legalized po siya, and PCSO, no, yung lotto. Now, both, however, when engaged in any individual are sometimes cause disharmony or complex. But even though may mga legalized po, may mga nag-aaway pa rin dyan. Okay? Hindi po maiwasan. No, like between husband and wives, no? Yung mga couples, no? This is especially among those belonging to low-income brackets. Kawawa po yung mga low income. Evil effects of gambling, especially casino gambling, no? Gambling has a number of evil effects. Neglect duties of responsibilities, especially sa family, loss of tact and the right disposition in dealing with other people, mortgage, utang, na personal or property and assets, broken marriage, family, home, prostitution, no? Binibenta yung katawan na lang, loss of health, loss of self-respect and moral integrity, proneness to commit other anti-social acts. May mga times na pag wala ng pera, dahil sa gambling, gumagawa ng other social acts like krimen. The Daily Express reports that bingo, domino, poker, when not played with 5 cards, stud, kwano, panggegi, and mahjong, if played as parlor games or the home entertained, are exempted from the anti-gambling. So, ito po yun. Kung wala naman pong perang nakakuan, hindi naman po kayo nag-gambling, okay lang. Hindi siya gambling, hindi siya exempted po siya. Letter of Instruction number 816, implementing Presidential Decree 1602, which laps stiffer penalties on gambling. So, malaki yung penalty. Said, however, that above games are exempted from the coverage and decree. So, may mga games po na illegal lang, meron po namang legal. Decree provide that They are not played in habitual gambling plays, and betting does not defeat the intent of the decree. These games are listed as among those prohibited under PD 1602. Under the decree, any person who participates in games without franchise and where bets are placed shall be penalized with presión mayor or 6 months to 6 years or 500 pesos to 2,000 pesos. Yan po yung law dyan. Prohibited and subject to the same penalties are game fixing, point shaving, yun po yun, pinifix yung game, yung mga points po pinabawasan sa manipulation, yung manipulate po yung game. Kumbaga, kung sa kuan pa, nandadaya, may penalty po rin dyan. Also subject to these penalties are person found directly and indirectly participating in an authorized game such as sabong, cockfighting, huweteng, no, lay-alay, and horse racing, including bookies operating game fixing slot machine. Yan po yung mga kulalong. Marami po yan. Bawal po yan. Presidential decrees naman on gambling. The following is Presidential Decrees 449 or cockfighting. Meron din yung cockfighting law of 1974. This law took effect on May 1974. And OG 4160 number 21. It governs the establishment, operation of maintenance of ownership of cockfighting. May mga legal din po naman ng mga cockfighting yung mga malakihan. Presidential Decree number 590 naman outlaws pinball and slot machines and other similar devices that nullifies all existing permits and licenses to operate the same. It took effect on July 23, 1974. Presidential Decree 771 revokes all powers and authority of local government to grant franchise, license, or permit and regulating wages or betting the public. Sometimes kasi before, may mga times na sasagot po yung mayor, politician, kasi nga po sila yung may power before. But then, because of this Presidential Decree 771, it revokes na wala na po silang power. I don't know ngayon din kung ano bang revision nito, pero ito yung laman ng Presidential Decree number 771. Presidential Decree 1157 increase the rates of tax on winning in sa mga horse racing. No? Pinataas yung tax kasi malaki naman po yung pera dyan. Cockfighting shall embrace the mean of commonly known as games at cockfighting derby. No, pintakasi or topada, its equivalent in terms of the Filipino localities. It has long, no, ito po yun, no? Ito yung long history po nun yung sabong. And until na, nandito pa rin yan. May mga nangyayari na nga pong online sabong. It has been regarded as the great Filipino pastime accordingly, such as much as baseball in the US, bullfighting in the Spain, sa atin ito sabong, no? Pastime. Since the time of its legalization, cockfighting has become a source of revenue for the government. So, meron din naman po mga legal cockfightings talaga. Malaki yung kuan din dyan ng government. Holdings of cockfights, except as provided in the decree, cockfighting shall be allowed only in licensed cockpits during Sundays and legal holidays and during local fiestas for not more 3 days. It may also be held during provincial, city, municipality, agriculture, commercial, industry, carnival, yung mga activity po yan dyan. Okay? And chief of the constabulary authorized representative provided that no cockfighting on the occasion of such fair carnival exposition shall be allowed within a month of local fiesta and more than 2 occasions po. Hindi po pwedeng everyday na lang po sabong. Okay? So, sabi dito po, provided further that no cockfighting shall be held on December 30, Rizal Day, sa ganitong mga holiday, Independence Day, National Heroes Day, no Holy Thursday, Good Friday, election, and the like. So, bawal po yan. Okay? So, poverty and malnutrition naman, pag-usapan natin to kasi in connection po to sa gambling, poverty, and ano yung connection. Poverty is another problem that threatens our society. Yung kahirapan, ang daming mahirap sa Pilipinas po. No? So, it is taking its toll on the lives of many people in the third world. Millions of children developing countries. No? Tayo po yung mga developing countries. Iba po yung developing countries at developed countries. Yung mga developed countries, sila yung mga USA, yung mga developed na talaga tayo, developing plan tayo, we belong to the third world. Our countries of which is not an exemption, were found to be suffering from disease such as diarrhea, dysentery, pneumonia, malaria, measles, TB because of lack of funds, walang pera, and essential food requirements as well as medical services, medicine needed. Now, what is poverty? Ano yung meaning talaga ng poverty? Now, poverty is a condition that is said to exist when people is lack of means to satisfy their basic needs. So, kakulangan. Meron tayong extreme poverty is the root of cause of malnutrition. This leads to lower resistance to disease. So, di ba may mga times po na Kung poverty po yung isang bata, nagkakasakit, malnutrition po talaga, will lead to diseases. No? Sometimes po talaga sa mga malnourished to, susceptible po sila sa disease kasi weak oftentimes yung immune system. Malnutrition may be caused by a chronic lack of food. In rare cases, child may also lack of certain nutrients. Infants, preschool, and pregnant and nursing women are vulnerable groups. Children are among the first feels the pangs of poverty. So it was found that 7 out of 10 Filipinos babies from ages 1 to 4 are malnourished. This is explained by the fact that families are conditioned of poverty and unable to buy commodities, especially food, to the children. So the health department reported that number of malnourished Filipinos 5 years and below is about 3 million. Before pa nga to, ang dami na siguro ngayon. Now, Kapunan is a magazine article, Poverty and Children in the Third World, expressed on 1978, pointed that Food and Agriculture Organization or FAO figure shows while the Philippines has successfully managed and overcome deficiency in food production in an 8% increase, which grew on the rate, still there is a malnutrition pa rin nangyayari. Okay? Seeds Roots states that there are 5 to 10 third degree malnourished preschooler in the barangay. It was found that almost quarter youngest Filipino die in average handicap because of malnutrition. Malnutrition has adverse effect on the children's mental development. Okay? Lack of nutrition, hindi makapag-isip yung bata. Kaya nga sometimes sa daycare namin sa elementary, kasi before malnourished kasi ako, sabihin ko na lang po. And research kasi nila dito, sabi na pag malnourished isang bata, mostly hindi makapag-isip, baka may chance pang laliit yung grado ng isang bata. So, ito yung project din ng government natin. Okay? Hindi productive kasi malnourished eh. Now, common deficiency ng mga malnourished. The most common encountered deficiency in disease is underdeveloped countries, is even some developing countries, are Masarmus and Kwashiorkor. So, Masarmus is a disease indicative overall under malnutrition, but it is often referred to as protein calorie deficiency. So, kulang sa protein. Now, medical authorities suspect it to be related to early weaning. So, early weaning po, ibig sabihin po yung parang, kung sa kuan pa, parang kinapon yung bata. So, maaga, hindi mo na pinabreastfeed, nag-stop ka agad yung mother sa breastfeeding, kinapon yung bata, parang ilutaso na yan. Yun po yung weaning ha. So sabi dito, no, failure in breastfeeding that results from the provision. So meron po talaga yung time sa mother na mag-breastfeed at meron po dapat time lang na, dyan sa lang mag-i-stop. Pag napaaga po yung weaning ng isang mother sa baby, sa pag-breastfeed, magkakameron na ng protein calorie deficiency. Okay? So kwashiorkor naman tayo. No, ito yung West American word, African pala. The sickness the child develops when another baby is born is the result in protein starvation and can occur even if calories are abundantly provided. It is more frequently follows as weaning. May related din. When the child of 1 or 2 years is often merely starches or sugar-based diet, no? Starch lang yung ginagamit or sugar. In mild cases, the child physically growth is retarded. The hair and skin are discolored and he acquires, no, pot belly. Another prevalent form of malnutrition in poor countries, which include the Philippines, particularly among women and Mali children, is anemia. Okay, lack of protein. B, during pregnancy, fetus absorbs from the mother's stored reverses a large supply of iron. So delikado po talaga sa pregnancy, no. Dapat pag pregnant po yung isang mother po, no, dyan po yung buhos yung pagkain ng mother para yung bata hindi kawawa. Anemia is common wherever poverty and poor sanitation prevail. Authorities say that trachoma is also an effect of malnutrition. Kapunan writes that in the world as a whole, it has affect no less than 500 million people and 2 million have already gone blind. Dirty water and sanitation, no, environment, no, like pollution, connected po. Another contagious disease can easily be contracted by children because of weak resistance, especially if the malnourished is TB. The incidence of TB in Asia is high in the Philippines. So what the government does in malnutrition? Ano yung ginagawa ng gobyerno dito? Now the DOH has earmarked 100 million prevention of malnutrition and undernourished children in the next 6 years. It was revealed that DOH intelligence served that yung mga libreng gamot, no? Avitaminosis and nutritional deficiencies are 8 leading causes of deaths among the country. So yan po yung ginagawa ng DOH. May mga libreng gamot, check-up, the National Science Development Board and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations have worked since 1974 come up to be cheap high-protein foods in the babies. Okay? So, yan po yung binibenta nila. No? Tinulungan po nila mag-cheap yung mga bilihin po ito para sa mga bata. Mendicancy, ano yung mendicancy? Yun yung po yung paglilimos. Okay? Another problem which is worse than poverty is begging. But there are those people who have some of these people are fake. May mga ganito, fake beggars. Mayaman pala and even richer than most of us in terms of money. May iba po ginagawa negosyo to. Kinikidnap yung bata, pinapalimos sa mga cities po para yumaman sila. Our country is predominantly Catholic and it seems that giving, so ito po yung sometimes malala eh. Oftentimes talaga, the love of charity talaga sa mga religions natin, naaawa tayo dito. But may law po dito po na bawal pong bigyan, no? Meron po tayong anti-mendicancy law. Bawal bigyan yung mga nanlilimos. Okay? So, almsgiving is rooted deeply in Filipino culture, no? Na dapat po talagang bigyan, no? Kasi before, pero despite of that, no, meron na po tayong magiging crime na po pagbigyan mo to. Okay? And giving alms and crimes, begging is important. Apparently, nothing can stop them from doing what they always have been taught. Okay? So, sabi dito, mendicant, ito po yung mga nanglilimos. No? So, bigyan mo ba or hindi? Sabi po nga dito, a mendicant does not realize that begging takes away his dignity. Parang ang hirap po i-uplift yung isang tao if he himself does not give dignity sa sarili niya. Okay, ang hirap po bigyan ng dignity. Parang ang hirap tulungan yung mga taong hindi tinutulungan yung sarili nila. Okay, may mga ganun po. A good deed helping. No, si Serapim Molina, Minister of Chief Religion Rehabilitation Officers, estimates that there are about 105 beggars sa Manila, 1,500. So, ang dami po nito. So, ang dami pong beggars, no? Others that numbers beggars has increased. Nag-i-increase po to a year. So, ang dami na po ngayon. Parang kahit saan ka tumingin sa city, mga laking cities, ang dami na. Social workers express the view that outlawing mendicancy is not an easier than removing it. They believe that economic situation, religious and superstitious beliefs, and plain habit are the cause of this particular social problem. May mga ganun po na. Dapat mo bigyan yan. Hindi ka mabait kung hindi mo siya bibigyan. Mali po yan. Pag binibigyan, pag tinutulungan mo kasi yung taong hindi tinutulungan yung sarili niya, no, para po din niyang pagkonsinti na, wag mo na yung tulungan yung sarili mo. Ako na magtulong sa iyo. No, social workers po, although there's a means talaga to give them, but we must assure that helping them, no, yung tulong natin sa kanila can help themselves. Okay? So we help people help themselves. Hindi yung pagtulong natin, wala din mangyayari. Sinusugalan yung pera, binibili ng rugby, kahit ano-ano pang binibili. So, meron tayo dito prevention and control. Okay? So, the decree drafted by the Department of DSWD, signed into the law of the President in 1978, provides for fines of 500 and maximum imprisonment of 2 years for the first offenses of beggars. Repeaters get double. Givers are liable to fines 20 pesos. No? Ikaw po na nagbibigay, no? I-fines ka each time they are caught. It is believed that if this decree is implemented properly, mendicancy may be minimized if not eliminated. Conclusion tayo, all these problems confronting the Filipino society cannot be solved easily and promptly, but they can be minimized to such an extent that the great bulk of population will be happy. Aided by the government and other social institutions, the citizens can do a lot in solving these social ills of the country. So, summary po tayo, gambling is a problem. Meron tayong mga presidential decree niyan, na although may mga gambling po na okay, meron din pong mga kinokontrol. May mga pinoprohibit din po. Extreme poverty is rooted from malnutrition. Infant preschool are among the first to feel the pangs of poverty. Serious malnutrition prevalent to third world natin, suffering ways of human life, loss of human poverty is a round of protein malnutrition have permanent effects, especially on small kids, children. So, questions to ponder po tayo. What is poverty? Why is gambling a problem to the Filipino family? In what conditions are some games exempted from the cover of Presidential Decree 1602? What is malnutrition? What does the government do for the malnourished? Name some deficiency diseases. How can one help minimize mendicancy? Okay?